Hello friends, welcome back. In our previous video, we discussed on territory planning and importance of territory planning, factors considered in territory planning and assigning territories to the sales force to ensure coverage of territory, coverage of potential customers, as well as preparing tour plan, standard work plan so as to maintain the sales call or visit frequency and to get and retain the prescriptions from the doctors. In this video, we will be discussing on the compensation and incentives that are planned by the pharma companies for their sales force as one of the motivational factor, as well as other activities planned by the pharmaceutical companies so as to maintain high motivation level to keep their sales force actively involved in the sales process and to retain these employees on a long run. As we know, everyone works for the better living being and everyone expects to enjoy a better quality of life and fulfill basic needs of self as well as their family members. Thus, the sales force who are working for any industry desires to get better earnings as well as performance based incentives along with other perks and benefits. Incentives, bonuses, or any other form of monetary rewards positively affects the morale, motivation level, retention of the employees, and in turn performance of the individual. If any company has employees who are working from long time period in any company will give sustained and incremental business to the company. Thus, we can define the sales compensation plan as all components of a compensation package, including wages, salaries, and benefits, the manner in which it will be paid, and the purpose for which the employees receives the bonuses, salary increments, and incentives. This definition clarifies that every organization has a defined plan of compensation and the incentives plan along with the purpose for which the components like wages, salary or other perks and benefits which will be given to the sales force. The designing and effective compensation for the employees becomes an important function of the human resource management. We should attract the employees. We should help in the recruitment and retention of the right employees so that these employees can contribute in the performance of the organization. Thus, the compensation which an employee receives is in return for his or her services given to the organization. The compensation to the employees supports in their standard of living, better status in the society, motivation due to high satisfaction level, loyalty towards the organization and productivity. However, all this depends upon the remuneration value received by the employees. There is always an imbalance between salary expected by the employee and salary given by the organization, as every employee expects to get higher salary and human resource always try to save on cost by giving lesser salaries to their employees. If we see the actual meaning of compensation is to counter the balance, thus it becomes very critical decision for the human resource to design fair compensation for their employees. Every employee working in their respective department put their efforts more than what a company expects, as they have to perform and contribute in the business of organization. But if employee feels that there is a difference in the efforts that they are taking to generate the business and the amount of remuneration they are getting, it may affect their moral, motivation level and their involvement towards the job, affecting negatively to the performance of the individual and the organization. Thus, the sales compensation planning is very important for any organization as it acts as one of the motivational factor for the employees and thus improves productivity of the employee. The sales compensation can also be used by the organization as a tool to foster the organizational values, cultures, and the desired behavior in their employees. And mainly, it will serve as an instrument which help organizations to achieve their business objectives month after month and year after year. Now let us understand the components which will be included by the organizations for their employees. Every organization have different components in their compensation plan. Few components are more or less same. We will discuss the important components in general which will be included by the organizations. These components are broadly categorized as direct and indirect components. The direct compensation refers to the monetary benefits offered and provided to the employees in return of services they provide to the organization, and indirect compensation refers to the non-monetary benefits offered and provided to the employees in lieu of services provided by them to the organization. The direct compensations are provided by the employers at a regular interval of time. Some components are provided on monthly basis, some components are provided on yearly basis, and some components are contributed by the company which the employee will get only after completion of their service tenure or depart from the organization. So let us understand the important components one by one. The first and the foremost important component is the basic salary. Basic salary is the base income of an employee that comprises of 35 to 50% of the total salary. It is a fixed amount that is paid prior to any reductions. Basic salary is determined based on the designation of the employee and the industry type in which he or she is working. Most of the other components like allowances are based on the basic salary. The amount is fully taxable. The second component is the dearness allowance. Dearness allowance is a certain percentage of the basic salary paid to the employees, aimed at mitigating the impact of inflation. In case of sales industry, it is also called as daily allowance, which varies based on their designation, area of work, that is type of city, tier 1, tier 2, etc., and whether they are working in headquarter, X station or outstation. The third component is HRA. A house rent allowance is that component of salary which is paid to the employees for meeting the cost of renting a home. It offers tax benefits to the employees for the sum that they pay towards their accommodation every year. The fourth component is conveyance allowance. Conveyance allowance, also known as a transport allowance, it is a kind of allowance offered by employers to their employees to compensate for their travel expenses and from their residence and workplace. The fifth is travel allowance. In case of sales, the personnel have to travel to X stations and out stations. They can travel by rail, road, or airways. A per kilometer travel allowance is fixed by the employers that may vary depending upon the designation of the sales force. The sixth component is the medical reimbursement, which is covered under the health insurance plan for each employee, which can be claimed by the sales personnel on yearly basis by submitting the medical bills or hospital bills. Then comes is the special allowance. It is another type of component which is included by some employers as a fixed amount that is given to their employees over and above their basic salary in order to meet certain expenses without bills. This is a taxable allowance and an exempt allowance. This will also help organizations to lower their payable HRA, as 20 to 30% of basic salary is the HRA component. So some companies may reduce their basic salary, and that part of basic salary can be given as a special allowance. Then comes is the education allowance, is given by some employers as a financial support for their employees to manage educational expenses of their children on monthly basis. Then is the Employee Provident Fund, EPF, is an employee benefit scheme where investments are made by both the employer as well as the employee every month. It is a saving platform that aids employees to save a portion of their salary each month, which can be withdrawn after cessation of services or upon retirement. The Employee Provident Fund, that is EPF, can even be transferred from existing company to the new company when the employee shifts their job. Gratuity is a lump sum benefit paid by the employers to those employees who are retiring from their organization. This is only payable to those who have completed 5 or more years with the company. The gratuity amount is paid in the gratitude of the services rendered by the individual during the period of employment. According to the Payment of Gratuity Act 1972, gratuity is calculated as 4.8% of the basic pay. Bonus is a fixed amount which is given by the employers as a component of cost to company, and it can be paid once in a year, either at the end of financial year or on occasion of Diwali. Some companies may link bonus to performance of the employees. Then the leave travel allowance is another kind of a component which is included in cost to company as a compensation plan for the employees. This leave travel allowance is eligible for tax exemption. It is offered to their employees to cover their travel expenses when the employee avails leave from work. The performance incentives are included as a part of CTC, and some companies have these incentive components as a separate component given to the employees based on their performances. Another component which some of the company includes is the transfer benefits. Transfer benefits are given to employees when they are transferred from one territory to other territory as a financial support for transport of luggage, household things, and the travel expenses. All these components make up remuneration of employees, which collectively called as compensation. Now we will try to understand the indirect compensation given by the employers to their employees. As per the leave policy, leaves are off work days in addition to the holidays that are entitled to the employees. Most other leaves are paid leaves except for those leaves which are taken beyond such entitlements, which are termed as a leave without pay. Some companies provide casual leaves entitlement to accommodate any urgent, unforeseen personal requirements. Companies provide 12 to 15 days per year as a casual leaves to their employees. Medical leaves, which are also called as sick leaves, are provided to the employees on the grounds of sickness or accidents made by the employee. Such leaves are to be mandatorily provided as per the labor laws. Maternity leaves are allowed to the woman employees under the Maternity Benefit Act 1961. To avail this, the woman must have worked for at least 80 days in 12 months preceding the date of expected delivery. Maternity leaves are provided up to a period of 24 to 26 months. Hospitalization leaves is a part of sick leave or medical leave under Employment Act. Number of days of hospitalization leaves depends on period of service of employee, which can be availed after exhaustion of the medical leaves. Holiday home benefits are provided by few of the companies as free accommodation facility in the company owned homes to spend holidays. Work flexibility. This is another benefit given to the sales force as to have their preferred town place as their headquarter. Say for example, the headquarter of a second line sales manager designed is Pune, and if the second line sales manager has his or her family settled in Aurangabad, then in such case the second line sales manager is allowed to work from Aurangabad. However, this is true only in case of few companies and few performing salespeople. Even performing sales force are provided to start working hours late or finish their working hours early than the normal working hours as decided by the organization. These are some of the work flexibility that the organizations can offer to their employees. The compensation or rewards are the strategic decisions of the organizations, as fair compensation will make employees satisfied, and every satisfied employee will have a better productivity, who in turn contributes in achievement of the organization's strategic goal. Thus, the objectives of compensation given to the employees are: first, to attract, acquire, and retain qualified and competent employees who in turn will contribute in the performance of organization. Second, to control the desired behavior of the employees to match with the values, cultural norms of organizations. Third, to reduce conflicts and grievances of employees by ensuring equity with the organization and to maintain the harmony with the employees. Fourth, the compensation given to the employees should match to the industrial norm. Fifth, when the salaries offered are matching to the industry norms, then it simplifies bargaining for salary during the recruitment process. Next, it also facilitates effective payroll and pay system as it also follows the labor laws and other legislative norms related to compensation to be given to the employees. The next objective is the salary increment or compensation plan is justified to the CTC through performance and productivity improvement. That is, any increment in the salary is always related to the performance of the employee. And lastly, the important objective of giving better compensation to the employees than any other competitor organization is to boost the morale of the employee, which will help retention and continuity in the performance of the employees. There are various factors which governs the compensation policy and strategy, such as first is the organization strategy. What is the organizational strategy? Means if the organization is having a growth strategy, expansion plans, then to get extra efforts with high involvement of the employees, organizations will have to pay better compensation than other pharma companies. Second is the compensation policy. The compensation policy of any organization describes the details of the compensation components in that organization, which will be fixed, and the conditions for the employees to get selected for the position. Compensation policy also includes the basis for determining base compensation, incentives and benefits, and various types of perquisites to various levels of employees. Third is job analysis and job evaluation. Job analysis is the process of identifying and determining the duties, responsibilities, and specifications of a given job. Thus, it helps HRM to establish the level of experience, qualifications, skills, and knowledge required to perform a particular job successfully. Whereas the job evaluation is determining the importance or worth of that job position. In any manufacturing organization, the production manager, machine operator's job position is most important. Thus, they should get better compensation than any other job position. Thus, based on the job analysis and job evaluation, compensation is decided by the organization. The fourth is the analysis of contingent factor, which includes various external factors such as how is the condition of human resource market, how easily the human resource is available. If the human resource are not easily available, then retaining the existing employees and giving them higher compensation remains the option with the companies. Other factors such as cost of living, level of economic development, pressure of trade unions, etc. are the external factors which will be considered by HRM while designing a compensation plan. Similarly, some internal factors will be also considered such as performance, seniority, skills, etc. Based on all factors discussed above, the compensation plan is designed and implemented in the organization. After doing the performance evaluation and review of each employee based on their value contribution to the organization as compared to the given compensation plan, the companies can take further decisions of either giving increment or decrement in the salary. In various functions of compensation management, the equity function ensures that the employees are fairly paid and that their worth is appropriately calculated. Means skilled jobs are paid higher and as compared to other companies in the same industry. The welfare function takes into consideration of satisfaction of employees, psychological and social needs of the employees, which are associated with the family responsibilities, liabilities, self-esteem needs, etc. If employees all these needs are met, then they can work without tension and unwanted stress. Next is the motivational function as discussed is to encourage employees to perform better even in challenging situations and develop themselves for superior positions. And the last and most important function is the retention function, which is an important function of compensation management, as nowadays getting and retaining talent knowledge bank is becoming more and more difficult. Thus, considering the various functions, objectives, and importance of compensation management, the salaries for the sales representative or the sales force will be decided by the Indian pharmaceutical companies. In this part, we have discussed up to the compensation plan and compensation management. In the next part of this video, we will be discussing on the incentive plans and the launch of new product activities designed by the pharmaceutical company. So stay tuned.